Welcome to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. I'm today's host, Vista Chamber's own Kent Leithold, here to interview the movers, shakers, and change makers impacting our amazing Vista community and beyond. Rachel's under the weather, so I get a turn to sit down as a substitute with an amazing guest. And do I have one for you today? Luis Gomez, the owner and operator of Vista's Chick Fil A, which opened in April 2022. Since that time, Chick Fil A has been a strong supporter of the community, giving back through school dine-outs, donating meal gift cards to programs, and showing up at community events all over town. But today, I want to learn more about this amazing leader who has been a Chick Fil A team member since 2010 and who has helped open 13 Chick Fil A locations before making Vista his home. Hey, Luis, how's my friend?
Yeah, I'm well.
Good. So to start this off, how did you become connected with Chick Fil A? What's the backstory here?
Yeah, so before I worked for Chick Fil A, I had Chick Fil A twice. We grew up in a family where we couldn't afford Chick Fil A, so I wouldn't ask for it. The first time I had it was in 5th grade, and it was my best friend Randy's birthday party, and his family was well off, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. I had the chicken nuggets, I remember. And then he told me how much they cost, and I was like, I will never ask my parents for that. And then the second time was in high school. I taught myself how to play drums, and we recorded a CD, and one of the guys that owned the studio, he had some Chick Fil A cards. And he said, hey, you want to go grab some lunch? Take this card over there. They'll give it to you for free. I was like, wow, really? That's amazing. So I had the chicken sandwich, and I was like, why are there pickles on this sandwich? But now I absolutely love the pickles. Yeah, they're the best.
It's the best.
Yeah. And actually, I had it one more time after that, and it was because my girlfriend at the time had made me take her. So, but I came to work for Chick Fil A. I was working on a ranch in Texas. It was hot, as you'd imagine. And one of my friends said, hey, I work at Chick Fil A. If you want an interview, let me know. And so he got me the interview. I had really long hair at the time and probably wasn't food safe. So during the interview, they asked me if I would cut it. And I said no. And then I actually rethought that and was like, yeah, you know what? I think I'll cut my hair to go work at Chick Fil A. Because it's going to get hot in Texas. It's only going to get hotter as the summer approaches, because I started in February. So it's, going to ramp up. And I interviewed and got the job, cut my hair, and went to work for Chick Fil A as a team member.
You've loved it ever since.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What was your dream job growing up? What was your dream job as a kid?
I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player.
Did?
Yeah. I played baseball for 10 years. And I was a pitcher, and I had a pitching coach. Like, I thought baseball was life. Every day after school is on the side of the house, either pitching to my dad or pitching to a net, whatever I had to do. And that's what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. And my parents separated whenever I was in 7th grade. And so my mom was working 3 jobs and didn't really have either time or money to take me to sports. And so I had to stop for 2 years, picked it back up in 10th grade. But by that time, I had 2 years that I had missed out on practices and just the continuous growth that I would have had. And so I just, I was not up to par where I needed to be. And I just felt like, hey, like this is probably a good time for me to go find something else. So that's when I started working when I turned 16.
Do you still play at all?
Not really.
No?
No.
Do you miss it?
I do miss it.
Do you go to the games downtown?
I do. I mean, it's Petco Park.
It's an incredible place.
Yeah. So we have a partnership with the Padres. And so we're on the Western Metal building. We have a Chick Fil A logo right there. So look for it whenever you're there. We love Petco Park. But I'm from Houston, so I love the Astros. I have to throw it in there. Jeff Bagwell is my hero, so yeah. Love him.
What's the best part of your job? What do you just love about Chick Fil A and owning this franchise?
Yeah, people. Kathy said it, we're in the chicken business, but we're really into people business. I love people. I love meeting new people. I love being able to serve people. The impact that we have. We have a lot of high schoolers. I love working with high schoolers. I mean, when I was in college, I helped in the youth ministry at my church in Katy, Texas, and so loved working with high schoolers and middle schoolers, and now I get to do that and get paid for it. So that's amazing. We're a lot of teenagers' first job, first interview. Sometimes I've had probably 6 or 7 interviews this week with teenagers that have never applied for a job before. And so it's great being able to help them get their first job, but then also after that, keep teaching them how to maintain a job and how to be on time and punctual and how to serve and treat everyone with honor, dignity, respect, and how to grow as a leader. So we have a lot of high schoolers who are team trainers, or, they become team leaders or assistant directors. And so it's really cool to see, I look back 2 years ago whenever we opened, or almost 2 years now, some of our high schoolers that had just started with us are now our leaders in the restaurant.
I love that.
So that's cool to see.
That.
Yeah. Yeah. And then families, we do family night every Monday night. And
yeah, tell me about that.
So that's amazing. The mindset is, it's not like, so I think some people have asked me like, oh, do you know how much money you're losing out on? And I said, yeah, you know how many mouths we're feeding? Right? Like, how many kids come to our family night because they can actually get a free meal?
So what is it exactly?
Yeah. So
tell me about it.
Yep. Basically, it's just any 12 and under child gets to come into the restaurant and get a free kids meal.
Now, is that something that you do advertise that? How do people know about that? You do advertise?
Instagram. We have it in the restaurant too, on our community board. It's every Monday from 5 to 7, free kids meal. You don't have to purchase anything.
How many people?
About 100 kids meals every Monday.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And then we hired Mr. Hugh to come in, and he was on Fox. We were on Fox News a couple weeks ago, and Mr. Hugh is 92, and he has done balloon animals since the 60s, and he loves doing that because he gets to interact with people. And I was like, why don't you do that on Monday nights, and I'll pay you to do it. You can be here. You can interact with all the kids. And Mr. Hughes like family now. So it's just like one thing that turns into another thing, and it's just another way we can serve people. We serve all these kids and serve Mr. Hugh at the same time. And families that come in, they're like, hey, like, I wouldn't have been able to give my kids the experience of Chick Fil A had you not been giving it out for free. And I'm like, no, I know, because that was me.
It's expensive to eat out. It's expensive to eat out.
Yeah.
And you're giving so many people a great opportunity.
Sure. Yeah. And some of the parents, I mean, some of them, you'll see them just bring in their kids and feed them. And you'll see them bring in other families and tell other families and other families. And like, it's cool to see the snowball effect of how we can serve people through the restaurant, and just a simple mindset change of like, well, how much money are we losing? It's not about money. It's not about, well, how much are we losing out on, or how many sales could we have had? It's just, how many mouths are we feeding today? So that's what I love. And I love that the kids, even like our high schoolers, they get to experience that. They're able to serve our those families and promo out the meals for them. And I'm sure they get, filled, their hearts filled by doing that.
I don't know if do other restaurants do that? Are you aware of other business?
I mean, I'm not aware.
I think it is
like
really
IHOP
unique.
maybe had something a couple years ago. I'm not really sure if they still do. I haven't been to an IHOP in a long time.
I haven't either.
I mean, the kids are just so happy whenever they come in. So,
well, on that, then what's the hardest part of the job? So the good stuff is of course people.
Sure.
And I'm such a people person as well, like you are. Yeah. But what's the challenge? What's the hard part of the job?
Yeah, you ready for it?
Yep.
People.
I know.
Right?
It's true.
Yeah. It's the great part, and then it's the hard part, and then it gets harder because
I know.
you've got so much life that's happening. You have high schoolers that are turning into college students and they leave. And so now you got to replace them. So that's part of it, right? But the hardest part is whenever you have teenagers, or you even have just adults that come in and there's life going on. Like, I've got 90 team members right now, right?
It's a lot.
At some point, something's happening, and it's not always good. People are graduating, birthdays, celebrations, anniversaries. Like, that's fun stuff. That's the easy stuff to celebrate, right? And you have to celebrate it. Like, we make an intentional effort. We have a director of culture. We had a director of culture, and now she's moved on to her next thing in life. And now we have a director of culture in training. And so she's responsible for the celebrations of life and everything that happens. So we definitely put an intentional effort on that. But the hard part is when you have a team member come to you and they're like, hey, my wife is in the hospital, or hey, my cousin just died, or hey, we just had a miscarriage, or, any of that kind of stuff. And that's hard.
Yep.
Because then you get to take off the restaurateur hat and you therapist.
That's right.
And so you've got to be able to switch that mindset really quick and be able to comfort your team members and help meet them where they're at. And sometimes I'm not the best person to do that. I'm not a therapist, right? I went to school for hotel and restaurant management, a hospitality major. And so I have to do my best to help in that area, but then usually just try to connect them with someone. Like Chick Fil A's got a great helpline as well, where if a team member doesn't want to share with me, but they want to share with somebody else outside of the restaurant, like Chick Fil A's got that set up for them. And so I get to direct them to that area. So sometimes I get to help, and sometimes I get to just kind of like navigate and like send them the right direction.
Chick Fil A, it's known for that exceptional customer service. You walk in, you always hear please, you always hear thank you, the magic words, and it's so important. That it is incredible. What's the secret to your great employees? What's the secret? What's the key to unlocking these great individuals?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, I think number one, Chick Fil A kind of attracts people who want to serve people, right? Like, if you want to serve people, you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do to serve people? Number one, like, you can go work quick service like Chick Fil A, and they know that Chick Fil A is known for that, right? My pleasure and the elevated language and hi, welcome to Chick Fil A. It's a great day at Chick Fil A. My name is Lewis. How may I serve you today? So, number one, I think we attract some of that talent. And I think it's competitive. Like it's a hard job. It really is. You're on your feet all the time. You're outside taking orders. You're running back and forth.
Fast food is a beast.
It's really hard.
People don't realize that.
I've had people come from the military and come tell me like, oh, like I've got it. I'm going to be all right. I did this, X, Y, and Z. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, wow, this is really hard.
It is.
Like, I know it's hard. I've done it for since I was 16. So, I'm 33 now. But I've done Chick Fil A for almost 14 years now. February 10th is my 14-year anniversary. So it's hard. But I think we attract people who like challenges. A lot of the people that we interview, they say, hey, I'm looking for something that's going to help me grow. I'm looking for something that's going to be a challenge for me. And we get people who come out to Chick Fil A and they apply and they say, well, I'm kind of shy. So I think Chick Fil A is going to help me kind of get out of that bubble. I'm like, okay, yeah, absolutely. Now, let me tell you, at some point, I'm probably going to ask you, hey, can you go do a table touch-in? Which means you have to go through the dining room and go up to each table and say, hi, guys, how are we doing today? How's the food tasting?
Be my favorite part of the job.
May I refresh your beverage? May I clear this tray for you, right? And so that can be intimidating. And so sometimes we have to help them. We guide them through that. We help them kind of come out of their bubble. And because we have so many friendly people that you can imagine how many friendships there are within Chick Fil A. I mean, they usually tell me like, oh yeah, on Sunday we went to Disneyland, or we went to the beach, or we did this. We had a Taylor Swift birthday party, and like this person was there and that person was there. And so that's really cool. But honestly, I think as long as we treat all of our team members with honor, dignity, and respect, as long as they feel respected like that, they want to pass that off. They love being competitive. They love trying to be, the best in town. And we get a lot of compliments from our guests, and that motivates them to be even better. I had a team member, Destiny, who came to me yesterday, and she was like, "Hey, I went to a restaurant," and I'll just leave the name of the restaurant out, but she's like, "I went to the restaurant, and now I understand why we were talking about core 4, which is eye contact, share a smile, speak with a friendly tone, and always say my pleasure." And she's like, "It really means a lot. Because like when I went to this restaurant, I didn't get any of that." And I was like, "Why am I spending my money here?" And she's like, and so like now it's like I hear the guest talk us up and say, "Oh, you guys are amazing, and you guys do this and that, and like y'all are so friendly." And she's like, "But like I just felt like they were just kind of like saying that, but now I understand like they probably actually mean it." It's like, yeah, absolutely. We get a lot of great comments about, "Hey, your staff is so friendly and they're so happy, and it's just such a fun place to be." And yeah, I think we do a lot of things for the team members. We celebrate them. We celebrate their birthdays. We celebrate promotions. We have fun with them. And so we try to make it an inviting place for them to come.
And the employees, they can take on as much responsibility as they want. Sure. Is that correct? Yeah. They can keep moving up as much as they...
Yeah, absolutely. So the other part of that is, and me and the leadership team, we talk about this all the time. We feel that our team members want 3 things. They want to be known and respected. They want to know that they're making a good difference, and they want to know that there's a future for them, or there's some steps to a growth process or to a leadership position for them. And so we do evaluations with them every 90 days. Yeah. And we sit down and we go over the core values. So the core values, passion, results, optimism, stewardship, professionalism, excellence, and relationships, which is an acronym for PROSPER, because we want to see our team grow and flourish. And so we go through each one of those and we do an evaluation. We say, "All right, Kent, so how do you feel like you do in each one of these?" And we go line by line. And we kind of explain what that means. Like, hey, being a good steward, that means like taking care of the property, taking care of our guests, taking care of the equipment that you're using, the iPads that you're using, and how you steward the business, and even like if you're how productive you are on the floor. And so we go on a scale of 1 to 5. 3 is average, right? So 4 is above average, 5 is excellent, 2 is below average, and 1 needs some improvement. And so we allow them to score themselves, and then we have the leadership team score them as well. And so we kind of see how those match up. Sometimes they're like apples to apples, and then other times they're not. Sometimes the team members score themselves a little bit higher in some areas, and we get to help them see some blind spots that maybe, hey, I just didn't know that. That's what I look like whenever I'm just standing there. If it's like for myself, I have to remember to smile. Because if not, I'm processing, my brain's just going through things and people think I'm upset. But I'm not. I'm just trying to process what's going on here. And so that's a blind spot for me. So we get to help them with their blind spots. But then also, if somebody thinks, well, you know what, on passion, I think I'm a 2, below average. And we're like, we might be like, hey, you're a 4. We think you're great. Or we might even think you're a 5. We think you're great. And so we get to encourage them in those areas. And so they know that there's a process for growth in the restaurant. If you score 90 or above, you're eligible for a pay raise. And if you score 94 or above, you're eligible for a promotion. And from team member to team trainer to team leader, assistant director, and then director. So that's kind of our process in the restaurant. We love it. It's been working, and we get to help and motivate team members, and then we get to help them in areas that they don't really know that they need help in.
Every 90 days. I don't know of other businesses that do that.
It's really hard.
Of course it is. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it is a lot of time. It takes
a lot of time.
We actually split it up amongst a lot of the directors for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a big task to sit down with each one of them. Mm-hmm. And you don't only talk about the core values, but you talk about our vision in Vista, not just here to make chicken, here to make a difference. And then we ask them, how do you do that? And then we look at punctuality. And so we help them make sure that they're on time, and that they can maintain a job. And if they're not, then, they lose a couple points there. But then on the next one, they're like, oh, yes, I was on time every day. Or, I'm doing better. I'm making progress. But the second reason that we have other leaders contribute is because I'm not always working with Kent. That might be Chris. And there might be a better leader who, hey, you know what? This person knows a lot more about this employee than I do. And so we get all of the feedback from all of the directors. And so if we're not really sure of how to give feedback to a certain person, then we'll go ask another leader who's working closely with them. And my rule for any of our leaders is, if somebody is not a 5, even if they're a 4, you have to have a piece of feedback. If you have no feedback, that means they're a 5.
I love that. So obviously, you think that Chick Fil A is an incredible place for a first-time job.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. I mean, look at all that you invest in these individuals. Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
Yeah, we have 90 on staff right now. We can probably get away with 70. We've never turned down a request off, though.
Now, what do you mean by that?
So if you want to go out of town for 2 weeks, you can go out of town for 2 weeks. That's fine. Just put your request in. We have plenty of team members to cover the floor and to run the business, right? But that's kind of one of the other perks, is that I want to make sure that when our team members have life events that are going on, weddings or graduations, prom, homecoming, it's not hard for them to get that time off. Because it's hard. Like when I was in high school, I remember having to ask, like, hey, can I have off for this weekend? I really want to go to like homecoming dance, or hey, I need off for prom. And it became an issue, right? It's like, I don't know if I'm going to get off for this vacation. It's like, no, there's no questions about it. If you ask off, then we'll find the coverage for it. Like, we have team members who are cross-trained. We have leaders who can work daytime and nighttime. Like, we have built that into our system so where we can honor every request off. With the leaders, sometimes it gets a little tricky. And so we might have to ask them, like, hey, I know you asked for Tuesday off. Can you work on Wednesday? But the leaders know.
But you work with them. But you work.
And if not, then like, hey, we'll figure it out.
I think we've all worked for people that, that have been difficult to have time off, and it can be very frustrating. Life happens, and you sometimes have to be on. That's incredible, Louis. Right. It is.
Yeah. No, we have a lot of team members who are helpful in covering shifts and helping the other team members get off whenever they need time off. And if they forget to put their request in, that's the process. If you forget to put your request in, you have to find coverage.
Okay.
But if you put your request in, they put requests in. I have a team member who put in a request. She said, 6-month anniversary with my boyfriend, 7-month anniversary with my boyfriend, 8-month anniversary with my boyfriend. I'm like, great. That's amazing. Like, that means I know you're going to be here for 8 months.
How long do employees last? How long do they stay?
Okay, so we have 90 employees right now. 39 of them are from grand opening.
Amazing.
That's a year and a half.
That's amazing.
And most of them are in leadership positions or at least trainer positions. So I think that's really good.
I do too.
The other ones, obviously, like we have some that went off to college. We had some graduated and got, like we have a dental assistant team member who she left to be a dental assistant. I'm like, that's great. Like, congratulations. I'm happy for you, right? We have other ones that they go off and they finish school and now they're moving on to their career. And that's great. Like, we know that for some people it's a career, and then other people it's a stepping stone to their career. And we just want to be, the positive influence on them during that stepping stone.
What are some ways, Louis, that Chick Fil A gives back to the community?
Yeah. So every Tuesday and Wednesday night, we leave those nights open for spirit nights. And so Mission Vista was with us last night. And so anybody who says, hey, I'm here for spirit night, I'm here to contribute to Mission Vista, I'm here to support whatever the cause is, we go ahead and mark that ticket with a spirit night button. And so we give 20% of the sales back to that organization. Most of the time we have something going on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. If we're not doing that, then we'll sell like at the Vista Little League complex, and we give back 15% to them as well. Anything that we sell while we're there. We do the same thing at like RBV. We do the same thing at Vita. So we're at a lot of these events selling chicken and giving the team members a little change of scenery, and also like passing off some ownership to some of the leaders. It's like, hey, you're going to own this. You're going to own from production to the setup to the restocking of it, and to the like team members that are there, and like making sure that people are getting their breaks and that, everything's grooving the right way. So we do that as well. We've done some giveaways, like Mamas and Minis is one of the organizations that we have given to. We gave to last year and we gave to this year as well. Right around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, just like a thankful back to the community kind of thing. And so that organization is for mothers like with children, and they all get together, and we've given them chicken minis. So it's like kind of minis and minis. And we've also given to some of the other, like Operation Hope. We've partnered with them, and we try to get to some of the nonprofits in the community so that they feel like they're being recognized as well. And, a lot of the chicken sandwich goes a long way. So
how can these community leaders reach out to you about these opportunities?
Yeah, sure. Come find me at the restaurant.
Okay.
Or Lewis at CFA Vista, LUIS at CFAVista.com. Ron is my operating business partner, and so he helps with a lot of that stuff as well. So it's just Ron at CFAVista.com. So yeah, or you can just message us on our Instagram. I usually catch those and we'll direct them the right place. So yeah, whatever it takes to get a hold of me, just come to the restaurant and say, hey, is Lewis or Ron here, Nicole or Alina, and, leave your name, leave a card or something. We'll get back to you.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
What's your favorite thing on the menu?
Spicy deluxe.
Is there, I've heard this, is there a secret menu?
Not really, honestly.
Lewis!
I know.
But everybody says there's a secret menu.
What's on the secret menu?
Well, I don't know, but I wanted to find out. Is there not something that you say, hey, could I have? I don't know. No, because I think some other fast food restaurants do have secret menus that you just kind of have to be in the know.
It doesn't get much better than a chicken sandwich.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Even the chicken nuggets.
It is
the fries. The fries.
It's the honest truth. I can't eat potato.
Okay.
But I have to tell you that the chicken sandwich is, knock on wood, it is always so hot, and it stays hot, and it is just the best. Mm-hmm. It is so good. It is.
Yeah. So the difficulty with like secret menu kind of things, especially an organization that's as big as Chick Fil A and as busy as Chick Fil A, you see the lines, right? When you have to start making one-off things, it slows down the process, right?
Throws things off. Yeah.
And so with being a franchisee of Chick Fil A, there's certain things that I can sell, and there's certain things that I just can't. Like I can't. My hands are kind of tied, right? So whenever it comes to secret menu, I really just abide by what Chick Fil A says. This is what you can make. For our team members and for our guests and everyone. Like, it's just, the menu is what the menu is. We're busy. We want to make sure that we're serving everybody quickly and efficiently. So yeah, unfortunately there's not. If there was anything that's like secret menu, it'd be... You're
going to tell me off camera.
No, I can tell you right now, but some Chick-fil-A's don't do it. Like, there's an option to do it. But it would be like, have you had our frosted lemonade?
Huh.
So it's lemonade and ice cream, and it's mixed together.
Wow.
So you can like change that up and do like Coke or Fanta or cherry Coke or...
So there's a little things there.
I mean, it's small.
Yeah.
Like, but that doesn't really change the process, right? You're still pouring a certain amount of beverage,
right,
and then you're doing ice cream and you're mixing it. So yeah, I mean, other than that, there's not really any reason to complicate our menu.
And you have the sauces. Now you have your famous original sauce, and it's a blend of honey mustard, barbecue, and ranch. And
Did you find that online?
I did.
You did.
Is it true? Is it true?
I think so. That sounds right.
It is amazing, and it's just like I just want 8 of them on a sandwich. It is delish. It really and truly
I think
is.
there's 2 things that operators invented. It would be the Chick Fil A sauce, because it wasn't like an original from like when Chick Fil A opened, but operators kind of that entrepreneurial mindset of like, hey, let me try something new. So I believe, and I don't know all of the details on that, but an operator had created that sauce and then it became Chick Fil A sauce, the original sauce, right?
What's your favorite? Is that your favorite?
Oh yeah,
because you have a lot. There's a lot.
Polynesian's great too.
Is it?
Yeah, it's sweet and sour.
I always stick with the original.
Sriracha's. I mean, they're all great, but Chick Fil A is my favorite. The second thing was milkshakes. We didn't always have milkshakes. So
you had that incredible sandwich not too long ago.
Which one?
The
honey pepper.
Yes, it was so good.
Honey pepper pimento.
Oh my!
It is really good, especially if you do it with the spicy.
I love that.
I did
that. I did.
You have the sweet. You have the spicy.
Loved it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Spectacular. It was.
Yeah.
There's a part that we always end the podcast with, and it's rapid fire.
Okay.
So I want to go through those, and we're just gonna go bam, 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 and you can tell me.
What's a processor? So
okay, that's fine. A little pause. I'll deal with a little pause. What's a book that you think everyone should read?
Okay, so this is a book that I read when I was a leader at Chick Fil A, and it's called Well Done, and it's by Kim Blanchard.
He's incredible.
Have you ever thought about like how SeaWorld and like places like that get their whales to actually do tricks, and like dolphins and like push them up on their feet with their nose? Like, have you thought about that?
I don't think I probably have.
Isn't that pretty incredible?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's so difficult to get somebody to say my pleasure every time somebody says thank you. So that's what the book's about. It's like, how do you create good, healthy habits? Like, how can SeaWorld do this? And it's hard to get team members to be on time, or to say my pleasure, or to be productive, or whatever, fill in the blank, right? And it's not that hard. Like, we have great team members, but how do you push that to the next level? And so the book talks about, well, they don't necessarily fixate on the bad behaviors that the whales are doing. They just kind of don't give them attention, right? And I'm not saying like don't give attention to your team members, but they just like don't pay as much attention to that as they pay attention to the good things. And so well done, like WHLE done, but like in reality it's well done, like WELL done. And so with our team members, it's like, can you help somebody feel recognized whenever they're on the front counter saying, hi, welcome to Chick Fil A. And like, they have that inviting tone. And so when we do that, other team members are like, well, like, I want some of that recognition. Right. And so if you're doing that and you're looking at all the positive things that are happening around you, instead of, well, I'm just going to be mad and tell this person they're doing the wrong thing, and that person they're doing the wrong thing, and that person they're doing the wrong thing. Just change the mindset and just fixate on all the positive things that are happening. If I asked you, if I said you were one of my team members and I said, hey, Kent, let's go talk in the office, what goes through your mind?
It's like, oh my God, I'm in trouble.
Why?
Well, you don't want to be put on the spot like that.
Because today we don't bring people to the office enough to say, hey, you're doing amazing.
Good job.
Right? I don't like going back to the office anyways. We do things in a dining room, just out in the open. We find a table, but sometimes you just got to pull somebody aside and say, hey, can we chat? You're doing an awesome job. Not, hey, can we chat? I don't like what you're doing over there. Just like motivate them instead of beating them down all the time. So whenever you do that, they're going to remember, oh, like I remember one time, like Lewis told me, hey, good job for like greeting guests. Like you're always so inviting on the front counter. And so they're going to want to do it more. Right. Just like you probably remember compliments that you get. Like someone says, oh, I really like that shirt. Every time you put on the shirt, you can be like, oh yeah, I remember like somebody told me they like that shirt.
People don't hear good enough.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would, even though I just kind of spoiler alert, gave you everything from the book, but there's a lot of different tidbits about how they do things with Wells, and it's a quick read. It's really easy. I like it. I've recommended it to a lot of people before. So,
music.
Okay.
So you're in your truck, you hear a song, and man, that is one that you just have to crank up. Crank it up. Music's big for me, and I think it is for you too.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I played drums for a long time, and I go to the gym probably 4 or 5 times a week and always listen to music. So, so, I mean, I'll always turn up George Strait just because I'm a Texas boy and like I love George Strait. And there's not like necessarily a particular song by George Strait, just pretty much all of them.
Anything.
Yeah, any of them. If there's one song, you're like, hey, what's one song I have to listen to? Till You Can't by Cody Johnson. It's great. And it's I think like number one, he just has an amazing voice, and Cody Johnson's my favorite like Texas country artist. The King, George Strait's kind of like always on top, right? But Cody Johnson would be right there, right next to him. But the song is about like doing things now before you can't, right? So like call your mom, have that phone call. If you're going to marry somebody, you find the right person, marry them before you can't, right? So that's really what the song's all about. It's like you have some chances in life, and you need to take those chances because there might be a point where you can't. Yeah.
What's something that inspires Luis Gomez? What fills your heart? What just gets you very excited and passionate? And
I mean, there's a lot of things that get me excited and passionate.
You're newly married?
I am newly married. My first thought was my wife, because she's just amazing. And yeah, I mean, she puts up with me. So I'm not always happy. People come to Chick Fil A and they're like, how's everybody always so happy? It's really hard to run the business. You're not always happy. And my wife sees a lot of that. So and probably being able to provide for her, and just thinking about the future. We want to have kids, and I would say like that's probably where my passion lies, is like being able to provide a good lifestyle for them and allow them to go to college, and maybe one of them would be a baseball player. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, supporting their dreams, and I think that's why I wanted to become a business owner, is because like there's going to be a lot of life that's going to happen, and with the way that my schedule works is sometimes I have to be there. But for the most part, like the work that I do, right, in growing the business can be done. It's flexible. It doesn't have to be done during the 9 to 5. So, if I want to go visit kids at school and bring them lunch or something like that, bring them Chick Fil A, I can do that. So that motivates me. I think just growing the business. I think I'm a competitive person. So just any kind of growth, like we want to grow the business. We want to grow leaders. I have a leader right now. Her name's Alyssa, and she potentially wants to do what I do in the future. And so it's cool to see that. It's like be on the other side of that line of, okay, now I have the potential to impact somebody's life and to help her become a business owner. But we're taking steps. She's our director of culture and training. And I told her, hey, this is one of the most important things. Like, you have to be able to build a team that really supports you and like that feels like you care about them. So you're going to be the director of culture, and then you're going to help them grow, and you're going to help the leaders grow, and you're going to help build the business that way. And hopefully she can get into Chick Fil A's leadership development program, like the program that I did where I opened restaurants for 2.5 years. And then maybe she can land a job at Chick Fil A corporate in Irvine, or potentially one in Atlanta, or become an operator. So a lot of opportunities for her. But I think growing the business, growing leaders, being able to provide for my family, like that's really what motivates me.
What's a Vista business that you think deserves a shout out, and why? Restaurant, or is it food, retail, whatever kind of business? What's a cool business in Vista other than Chick Fil A that deserves a shout out?
Okay. I mean, the one that's fresh on my mind is Handel's. Like, they just did a community cleanup event, and that's inspiring to me. So I want to be able to do something like that as well. And we definitely have the people to do it, and we have the ability to do it. I love that they care about the community. Yep. But I also love their ice cream. Yeah. I mean, Oreo ice cream on a waffle cone. It's just, it's great.
Stellar.
It's amazing. So yeah, we definitely support that business. But we also see them, at almost every single event that we go to, they're there as well. And I'm sure they're doing some kind of kickback too. I don't ask the details, but they're there. They're supporting. They're at the events. They're at the high schools. They're at some of the chamber events. And yeah.
Okay, Lewis, lastly, have you ever seen the Golden Girls television show from the 80s?
I grew up with Full House.
You grew up with Full House.
Yeah.
Well, Golden Girls, ladies, the older ladies that all lived together, and the theme song was always, "Thank you for being a friend." And I think that's you.
Thank you.
You're my friend.
Yeah,
You're everybody's friend, and I so appreciate that.
Good. I love having friends.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love new people, so.
Thank you, Lewis.
Of course.
Thanks again to our guest, Luis Gomez, and thank you for listening to Velocity. If you like what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and tell a friend. Help us move Vista forward with velocity. The Vista Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization that serves as a catalyst for business growth. Join us today. You can learn more online at vistachamber.org. Have a great day.